Back with another episode of Pottawattamie County Routes. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. All of this warm weather has been very welcome. Approaching 70 on Monday and another warm day. And in fact, we are expecting temperatures above freezing and well above freezing, for the rest of the week. And for those of us who like to walk outside and just enjoy the weather, it's been great. But for those who are ice fishing, not so much. It ended the season a little bit early, and actually quite a bit early. And I thought, who better to talk about what's going on in the fishing world than Joel Rybin of Anchor and Bait and Tackle. And we've had Joel on the show before, and he is back with us today. We're going to talk that. We're going to talk about some life experiences, get into a little philosophy. I'm telling you, this is a great conversation. Joel Rybin of Anchor and Bait and Tackle joining us today on Pottawattamie County Routes. Start your day right at Brewed Awakening in Avoca, open Monday through Saturday and always serving something fresh. Enjoy bagels every day, weekly specials that you will not find on the menu, and warm seasonal soups every Tuesday and Wednesday. And then on Wednesdays and Thursdays, grab a hot breakfast sandwich. Treat yourself to something sweet every Friday. Or if you're hosting a meeting or gathering, Brewed Awakening has a private room ready for you. It's free to use if you don't need it all to yourself. Stop in for great coffee, good food, and a friendly hometown atmosphere at Brewed Awakening in Avoca. HR Helix, delivering fractional HR leadership and strategic people solutions for professional firms across our region, including right here in Southwest Iowa. Founded by Amy Luckenbill, HR Helix helps growing organizations that have outgrown do-it-yourself HR, but you're not ready yet for a full-time executive. From compliance and culture to performance and structure, HR Helix turns complex HR challenges into clear, confident action. Old school smart, next gen savvy. Go to hrhelix.com. And when emergencies happen, confidence can save lives. Ready Responders 130 provides professional CPR training for individuals, businesses, and community groups, so you know exactly what to do when it matters most. With flexible scheduling, up-to-date information, and dedicated instructors, you get hands-on skills that prepare you for real-world situations. At work, at home, or out in the community, Ready Responders 130 gives you the tools to act fast and act smart. So be prepared and be confident. Visit ReadyResponders130.com. Welcoming back into, for the first time in the studios on Willow, we have talked before. This is Joel Rybin with Anchor and Bait and Tackle at Council Bluffs. And you have been busy giving ice updates. I've been watching you online. You're actually out there doing live updates so people can get real-time information. Yeah. And then the weather turned. Yeah. And we everything's pretty much done with ice fishing, isn't it?
It is. For this area, I think so. For the most part, it's pretty much done. It was a crazy season. Welcome to the Midwest, Iowa. Yeah. We get all 4 seasons, sometimes in the same week.
It happened this year. Any excitement during the ice fishing this year and what the short season we did have?
Yeah, no, the bite was really good. A lot of people caught fish, a lot of really nice fish. Seen a lot of first fish through the ice pictures, kids, people taking, the next generation of anglers out and getting them ice fishing. So that was really cool. I think the biggest thing to take away from this ice season was just the dedication, that I've seen consistently through guys that are there every morning before I get there, ready for bait, and they fish all day. The camaraderie that comes with ice fishing, it's second to none. There's not another type of fishing, in my opinion, that people just, they enjoy the sport and the weather elements and the things they got to go through. It takes a special breed of person to not just go ice fishing, but to love it.
Well, it's a different kind of deal when, unless you're on a boat, you're in much closer proximity. Yep. When you're ice fishing, and also your options are less. Yeah. So it's not as if, hey, I'm going to go down the shore and I'm going to try this down here and see what's going on. No, you've dug a hole. This is where it's at.
For the most part, yeah. And now guys, the electronics have came a long way. So you got guys that are out there, spending $1,000 on an ice hut, $300 on a heater, $500 on an auger, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 on a live scope on electronics to find the fish to catch a 6-inch crappie or a bluegill, and they don't care. It's different. Definitely. But these guys are so mobile. I know one guy that will pop 100 holes on one body of water before he sets up his ice hut.
Really?
He pops a hole, sticks his electronics down there, sees the structure, sees if there's any fish. If they're not there, or if he doesn't like it, he goes 20 feet that way. And then I've watched him from my house, and he'll just keep popping holes. So, like I said, the dedication is just second to none.
Ice fishermen and ice fisher women, I don't know what the technical term is, they're pretty passionate about what it is that they're doing. So I'm sure that there's a little bit of disappointment as to how quickly the season came to an end.
Absolutely. It's sad, especially for us. We really got teased with a great beginning. December, everybody was up in arms. Oh my God, we got good ice before December 25th,
Right.
before Christmas.
Hey, I saw people making comments about it that were going out there and fishing, that it's early and we're out here on the lake.
Yeah, so we doubled down and thought we were going to just have good ice throughout the season. It's kind of the risk you got to take as a bait and tackle shop that a lot of people don't understand is we almost got to be magician. We got to be mind readers and know, kind of gauge what the weather's going to do for ice fishing, because there was, then 2 weeks after that, after we loaded up, it was 72 degrees in open water within 5 days,
Right.
So I think there is some disappointment, but I'm pretty sure everybody's over that now. They get a little bit of this good weather and they're ready for spring.
Well, as we were talking about, excuse me, before we got started here, that you're already starting to see the post-ice fish come on and the bites increasing.
Yeah, so it's called the ice out. The ice out bite is probably one of the most productive bites for walleye, or for crappie, excuse me. They just get extremely hungry and active when that ice comes off, and you use the same presentation as ice fishing. You use a little ice jig, or a little crappie jig and a wax worm or something like that, and they still bite the same, but they're more aggressive when that ice comes off.
Yeah, crappie, they fight pretty hard.
Yeah.
When you catch them.
It's for a small little 12, 15-inch fish, they definitely get you excited.
Yeah. So at this point then, is it a big switch over for you inside of the bait and tackle shop?
It is. So in the past week, I've had 20 customers, give or take, buying cut bait or looking for stuff to go catfishing on the river already. I'm probably a handful of guys have already caught catfish. One of my customers, Ezo, he caught 2 catfish and a carp last night on cut bait that he got from us last year. So they're ready to go. That cabin fever is a real thing. And I know probably, I'd say, just to throw a number out there, 60-70% of my catfish anglers and open water fishermen and women, they don't ice fish. They want nothing to do with it. And so the hype and the cabin fever, it's coming on strong. People are ready.
How much with what it is that you do is the established angler versus the weekend warrior kind of thing?
So it's funny you say that. After 5 years, we just hit our 5-year mark of being open and in business. And the weekend warriors, they're coming in and they just want to fish. They're not necessarily species specific. They just want some worms. They want to go sit next to the water, maybe drink a cold one, enjoy the weather, and just release. And we've talked about it before. A lot of people, I think, they just fish to get away from reality and life and the hustle and bustle of that work week.
Well, part of it, for me anyway, is being in the present. I struggle with that.
Yep.
I'm always projecting, an hour or two or a week or whatever down the road. But when I'm sitting by a body of water and I've got a line in and, I've got my finger tucked up underneath that line, and I am zeroed in my mind, feeling for anything that is an indication. And I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about what do I have to do next week. I'm zeroed in right there. And that, just from a mental health standpoint, is huge.
Absolutely. I see it, and I kind of pull it out of some of my guys and gals. You could tell when they've had a rough week, and I kind of liken myself to a bit of a therapist, and try to give good advice. And That's why those bar stools are there at that shop. Not everybody's coming in and pulling up a bar stool to get minnows. There, you can tell. I can read a guy when he comes in. He's not sitting down. He's in a hurry. Bucket on the counter. Give me a scoop.
Yeah, he's there.
And I'm like,
he's there for a reason.
All right, let's get you out the door. Let's get you fishing. And then the next guy he'll pull up a stool. When a guy pulls up a stool, he's got something to say. And I love it because it's just it brings more of a purpose than just sales. The service after the sale, when a customer messages you and says, "Hey, I'm not having any luck with this bait," or "I'm getting kind of frustrated," or "The bite's great," and I've seen a guy come in kind of down in the dumps Friday, whatever, had a rough week, and give me some bait. And then 2 hours later, he sends you a picture with the biggest smile. And then he calls you. I get calls at 12 o'clock at night. Catfishing season, I got to turn my phone on Do Not Disturb around 10 o'clock because customers will just blow me up. Dude, check out this fish, and then I wake up to pictures of fish, So it's all full circle. It's much more than just selling bait. Like you said, that mental health is such a big, important thing to me that I've struggled with in the past. And I think, some people don't admit it, but we all struggle with some sort of mental health. We all have a brain. Yeah. We all have stuff going on. We all have bills. We've all got family, and health ailments and just different things. So it's humbling at the end of the weekend to see all the stories. I'm not counting money at the end of the weekend usually. I'm counting memories. And it's really, really nice to be a part of that.
Well, one of the reasons I like talking to you is because of your passion for that, because men traditionally have had fewer outlets to be able to talk about those kind of things. And sometimes we need to talk to somebody that has some shared life experience.
Absolutely.
And to know that, we can go down and we can talk with Joel, or there might be somebody else there in the bait and tackle shop that can relate to some of the stuff that we're going through that may have something to do with fishing, may not have something to do with fishing. It's important to have that outlet, and you're helping to normalize these conversations. And that's, I'm one of the reasons why I like hanging out with you.
I appreciate that, Todd. I do.
Well, let's, we also want to talk about the fact that your shop, yes, it sits in Council Bluffs, you're near Lake Manawa, but you have knowledge of a lot of bodies of water. I mean, this particular show covers all of Pottawattamie County.
Yep.
So you can talk to folks if they're coming in and say what specifically they can expect.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and Pottawattamie County specifically has so many great fishing opportunities, not just the Missouri River. I mean, there's probably 15 species of fish that can be caught within 30 minutes of Council Bluffs. Mm-hmm. You've got, and some great trophy fishing spots. And the key is you just got to get out there, I really, really like keeping in touch with the customers. They always report back for the most part. Some guys are pretty secretive, but, I get reports on lakes all the way from, south of Glenwood, Tabor, Bartlett, all the way on up to Sioux City, all the way to Des Moines. I get a lot of reports, so I try to just share those with people. And it's nice to bring awareness to the fact that there's good fishing here, because people think you have to travel to Minnesota or South Dakota to get a good 26-inch walleye. No, you just got to go to Lake Manawa and fish on a cloudy day with the minnow off the bottom. That's all you got to do. You got to go.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of fish in that lake. There's a lot of fish in the, some of the different wildlife management areas that we have around the county, and it's a lot of opportunities. And grateful that you're out there and that you're talking to folks. How's your podcast doing, by the way?
Hats off to you and anybody else that does social media influencing or anything to do with posting content. It's so much more work than I let on. I had no idea the level of work it was going to take. And I see why a lot of people put out 1 or 2 episodes and then they quit, because it's tough and you don't get the traction. And the first thing I had to realize is that I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this because I got a story to tell. Mm-hmm. I know other people have a story to tell, and I want to pass the time with something positive. I'm all about, using my time to do something constructive instead of destructive, whether it's physically or, with our lives. Things go so fast, and my goal is to just slow it down and enjoy every bit of it.
I mean, you got a great space to be able to do that in. You built a really nice studio there at your business, and I know you've had some folks on, some local people
Yep.
coming in, and you're right, it is work. And I tell a lot of people, and you and I have talked about this, that you have to have a reason for doing it other than those views.
Yep.
Because you can't control that.
Yep.
You can market it all you want, you can push it out all you want. What you cannot do is get somebody to hit play unless you're picking up their phone
Yep.
and doing it for them.
Yeah.
So focus on what you can control.
Yep.
And if you do that and just be as authentically you as you can, the numbers will take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
You just can't look at that as a metric for success because it's not.
Yeah.
And the metric is, how do I feel about this after it's over with? That's the most important part.
Right. And honestly, and I think I shared this with you, it was so hard for me to put out the first episode because I'm such a perfectionist. I want it to be, I had this vision in my head. This is how it was going to be. And John, the producer, he's worked with Jelly Roll and Bubba Sparks and all kinds of different artists. He kind of, and I said, I needed to listen to him. I told him that. I said, tell me the things I don't want to hear. And the first episode was not how I wanted it. It was how it needed to be, though. It was real. It was raw. It was right in the middle of our bait shop. And the personal relationship that I have with Bubba Sparks is one of drinking and partying and traveling. I was on tour with them, and the last time I actually drank was in Sauga, Illinois. It was Yellow Wolf, Jelly Roll, and Bubba Sparks. And that was the last time I drank, but I came back to Council Bluffs, went to a watering hole on the 100 block, and that was actually physically the last time, but I counted it all as one because it was just one crazy weekend.
Right.
But that episode it touched on some deeper things. I personally would have liked to have had that further along in the show because I don't want my show to just be about addiction and the doom and gloom of what comes with that. Not everybody can relate to that. But the next episode, Houston Alexander, was a fun, high energy, really good time, and I think a lot of people enjoy watching that one. And then the next ones, we're going fishing, and really putting together the vision and realizing that it was way more work than I had anticipated. But it's coming together, and we're looking to start being able to put out an episode every 2 weeks for the first six to 8 episodes, and then I want to get on a weekly schedule. I don't know how you do it every day. Hats off to you, man. Oh, man.
Well, listen, this is my training. I did radio for 30 years. I did a radio show every single day.
I know.
So when it came time to start looking at this, I thought, I can do that.
Same.
Because I used to sit in a studio from 5:30 to 10 every morning and talk, into a microphone. And the only difference is I'm not playing music 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
But the content itself is the same. If I was to bring you in when I was doing a radio show, it would be a much shorter conversation.
Yep.
We wouldn't be able to go as deeply as we can into this.
There's more of a controlled schedule.
I got a commercial break I got to hit.
Yeah.
These ads have to be played.
Yep.
And we got to get some more songs in this hour because it's very formulaic. We don't have to worry about that now. These conversations become whatever they're going to become.
Yep.
I would encourage you as you continue on with your podcast that this is hard to look at it this way, but try to not look at it in a chronological way. You're just building a library.
Yep.
Because people aren't going to listen to you that way. Once you have a library of 30 or 40 episodes, and you will, then let's say you're going to get new listeners and viewers at that point, and they're going to go back and they're going to say, okay, I want to watch Joel's podcast. Here's a list of everything. Oh, I like this topic.
Yep.
So they'll go to that one and they'll jump around. And that's how this works. It's a different kind of deal than, the way media always has been before, where, all right, Friends is on at 7, and then Drew Carey show's on at 7:30, and that's different networks. But, it's not that anymore.
I'm really glad you said that because it kind of simplifies some of the chaos that goes inside my head trying to figure out some things. And that makes a lot of sense because in my head, I wanted the chronological order,
Right.
like episode 1, episode 2,
Yeah.
episode 3. Well, this isn't, the deadliest catch on A&E. It doesn't. They're not going to watch this episode and wait for next week's episode and so on and so forth until you get a little established. And like you said, they can go back through the catalog or the library and listen to things that serve a purpose to them.
You're not talking to only the viewer that sees it the day you put out.
Yep.
You're talking to the viewer that finds you 2 years from now.
Yeah.
That same episode is still going to be out there. It's still going to be getting traction for you. Happens with my shows.
Yeah.
I see
I
shares and likes from months ago.
I drive a lot and I don't like listening to music when I drive anymore. I don't know what happened. If I just one day turned, mid 30s and I was like, I'm going to listen to talk radio now and podcasts. I don't like music. Like, I don't know what happened. But now when I drive, I listen to podcasts. And I put my phone in the phone holder. Yep. I find a podcast, boom, and I listen to it. And it makes the trip go by faster. And I've found myself listening to some of your older ones and different stuff. So I understand what you're saying.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff matters. That I'm a different kind of deal. Daily podcasts are not really common. So they stack in a hurry. But I've got around 525 sitting out there now. And when I think about how quickly that number grew and the vast number of people that I've talked to, I actually told a story on this show before that it's been a couple of months ago now that I was at a Western Iowa Development Association networking meeting, and large group of people in there. So it's my turn to talk. And I said, just to let you know how everybody has something in common here, if I've interviewed you, raise your hand. And there's probably 30 people in there. 3 didn't raise their hand. Everybody else did.
Yep.
So, and that's how I realize that you just got to stop every once in a while and look back at your progress.
Yeah.
And it's the same with you, with not only just your podcast, but with your business too. If you stop and think about where you were 4 years ago, 5 years ago, how long has it been?
5 years.
5 years ago. And you think about where you were at then versus where you are at now. Probably doesn't feel a whole lot different, but man,
the optics are there.
You can see it.
Yeah.
You have a different view than you used to. And you're still climbing a peak and you're still focused on the pinnacle there. But when you stop and look back at where you were, man, that's the view. And that's something to really be proud of.
And just saying that, it hits me emotionally because words are, man, it's crazy. Like I'm trying to compute it all in my head because when I had the idea to start the bait and tackle shop, I had zero clue all the hurdles we were going to have to go through and how hard it was going to be. And to start a retail business from scratch with 0 customers, with 0 products, and just an idea and a passion, it's the scariest thing somebody can do. It really is, when you look back at it. And I jumped in head full of steam and just thought this, had a vision. And obviously, God's vision's a little bit different. And it has transcended into what it is now. And I look at like the podcast, I just had this great idea, I thought, and I was like, I'm going to do this. And I didn't look at the full circle and how much work was going to go into it. I had no idea. It's easy to say, I've got this idea, this is what I want to do. But to put it into action and to wake up every day and not get discouraged on the hard days when stuff doesn't upload, when you're like, okay, we've got everything done, it's edited, I'm going to upload this at 7 o'clock, first time. Hit the upload button, time remaining 7 hours and 42 minutes. I'm like, what? Guys, this will air about 1 o'clock. Hope you're awake. We'll just move it till tomorrow, and then so on and so forth. So I'm sure you can relate. And
well, we've
figured some things out.
We fixed that problem.
Yeah.
So
I need help. I will be reaching out. Yeah.
Fiber internet does wonders.
Yeah.
And it's a game changer. Now, again, I don't know what size these files were that you were uploading or what your internet speed was.
It was 3 1-hour and 7-minute files. One was on a GoPro, one was on my Sony,
right?
And then one was on another GoPro. So
if the files themselves, not time wise, but gig wise, if they're pretty big, then yeah, they can take a long time to upload.
Yeah.
Here, as an example, shows that used to take 25 minutes to upload now take little less than a minute.
Yeah.
And that is what
we have an appointment to get fiber. It's already been made. Yeah. Cause I can't do Cox no more.
Well, it's going to be fiber's a game changer.
Yeah.
And when you have a gig upload, and that's what you're looking for is your upload speed. Download, you're fine.
Yeah.
It's your upload speed that you're after. And when it changes.
Oh, it was so frustrating.
Oh yeah.
I've been so gung ho, like ready to kick butt. And then those things sit you down and it's like, well, that's what time it says. We can't make it go faster. We can, but not today.
No, not today.
So, and my producer called me today and he's like, hey, I'm almost done with this edit. You'll be ready to release this week. So we'll hopefully be releasing tomorrow and I'll upload it in the morning.
Well, just keep grinding.
Yeah.
And jumping back to something you said just a little bit ago about how you had a good idea. You had a good idea. The amount of work is secondary.
Absolutely.
The idea is still good.
Yeah.
So do it. And that's the thing too. Your podcast doesn't compete with my podcast, and it's not because it's different topics. It's because podcasts don't compete with each other.
Absolutely.
That's how it works.
I've had a couple people that are like, "That's crazy that Todd's supporting you like that and working. He's got a podcast. Yeah, we support each other.
It's not.
That's what and supporting another business or profession that's in the same category as you is not going to hurt your business. It's going to help you. The community want to see businesses come together and work with each other, not against each other. When nobody wants to hear another business owner badmouth the business down the street. So I've made it a point not to do that. I do the opposite. And the elephant in the room is there's another bait and tackle shop right down the road from us. And yes, that is competition. No, I do not want her to close. I want her to be there forever. I never want another small business to close, especially not due to me. So I've really had to change my outlook and be more accepting of other people's lack of acceptance. Or not letting other people's actions influence my character and integrity. And that's where I stand on. And everybody knows if I'm out of bait, I'm going to tell you to go right down the road to Wood Sporting Goods and give her your business. Or if you're new to the area, I tell people, hey, go down the street before you hit the lake. There's another bait shop down there. They carry a whole different selection of stuff. So that's the thing. When you reached out to me, well, I reached out to you because I saw the catfish.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, what's up?
Yeah,
I know a little something about that.
I think that was actually your video.
Yeah, it was. And I was like, very cool. I commented on one of the posts and then we started talking. And instead of in our head saying, well, I don't want to help him. No, we wanted to help each other. We wanted to work together. And I'm honored to be on the show. And I'm very grateful that you took the time you've given me a lot of advice behind the scenes on different things. And I'm following suit. I've got someone to watch and see the way that you do things, and I'm just trying to apply that to what I do, and vice versa. I hope I bring something to the table for people too. And it's kind of a funny saying, and I'm sure a couple of my ex-girlfriends will see this and laugh or talk crap, but everybody's like, well, you're just using people. You know so many people and you always want something from them. And the way I look at it, I want to be used too. Okay. If you're not being used, you're useless. And once people take the personal side, well, he just wants something from me. Well, no, we need to help each other. I'm never going to ask somebody for something and not return something in favor, or that phone goes both ways. If you ever need anything, you've done more for me already than I've done for you. Hopefully one day you'll call me and say, hey, I need your help with this, and that's just the way we have to be, and competition, it's not a dirty word. It's good for everybody. It keeps everybody on their toes. And you see somebody doing something innovative, you either double down and try to get better, or you let them live rent-free in your head. I'd rather double down and put things into action. And I want to see you at the top. Not me looking down on someone from the top. I want to bring people up, level up with me,
There's something that, somebody that sat in that chair, a friend of mine, musician here in town, Dan Olson, we sometimes, anytime we're doing an interview, we'll get off track and start talking about stoicism.
Yeah.
But there's a saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it talks about when someone is saying something negative about you or has a bad opinion about you, one of two things is happening. One, they're right and you owe them an apology, or 2, they're wrong, but it's because they're uneducated about it. And they deserve your sympathy and your help to be educated about it. So one of those 2 things, it takes the personal shot out of it. Because the one thing, this, I'm preaching to the choir here, that you cannot control is someone else's opinion.
Nope.
Can't control it. So if someone has a bad opinion about you, it's not your fault. If you are comfortable with who you are and you know that, hey, I'm doing my very best in life here, that's all it takes. That's it. And other people's opinions are their opinions, and they can have them. If I would prefer you didn't post it on my page, but
they posted on mine, and I love it. I don't care. I embrace it.
Yeah, you kind of you do a lot of numbers, so yeah, your audience is much bigger because my audience is targeted. So I'm looking specifically to here, but what you're talking about has a much more larger reach.
It's very broad.
Yeah. So there's people in other states and other regions and other parts of the country that are really interested in the stuff that you're talking about. And so which is another reason why our podcasts don't compete.
Yeah.
Because I can't compete with your numbers because I'm targeted.
Yeah.
I am a small market podcast. You have something that's much larger and broader.
Yeah.
There's room for both, and it's okay. So that's why I appreciate talking to you.
Absolutely. And one thing I like to, I embrace, I try not to get too egotistical about it, but even the haters, because we all got haters, they're still views. You're still watching this. Even if you don't like me, you're still going to watch this.
Yeah, thanks for the click.
And I really like it when someone says something negative on Facebook, and I initially want to respond, and I want to clap back. I'm human, and I let people know there's a human running this business. That's not just a bait and tackle shop. There's a man behind that counter that will speak to you, and you can come in and speak to me, and we can have a conversation. I encourage people to surround themselves with people that they don't agree with and that don't agree with them. It challenges our thinking, and I'm always willing to have a conversation. It doesn't have to be a confrontation. It can be, but I really like to bring a human side to things. Small business owners are human. We're a different breed of human. We go through things, and we've made it through things. We've failed. We've got back up. Anybody can apply that. I think it's but letting people know, hey, you're not going to just get a free shot at me and my business and my customers and our way of life without getting a response. And usually the internet takes care of it for me, and people say what they want with no filter. They don't have a business to protect. So I tend to just let it happen, but I'm also a firm believer that I'm not going to run from anything. I'll call myself out on my failures and my shortcomings, and we can talk about them. I put them all on the table. Everybody knows I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've got 9 years of sobriety, and I've applied that to many other areas of my life. It's just trying to be, I'm not better than anybody else. I'm just better than who I used to be.
That's a good way to put it. That's a really good way to put it. And this is living proof of the conversation that typically I have with people, especially the first time before we talk, sitting here at this table. I don't know how these conversations are going to go. I don't know where this is going to end up. We were talking ice fishing. Now we're talking about life philosophy.
Yeah.
So who knows?
I love the non-scripted, real raw.
Let it happen. Yeah.
That aspect of your show is something that I love. It's not scripted. Yeah, you probably edit some stuff, but you're not hiding anything that somebody said or trying to change the way that they say it.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I don't edit very much.
No.
I've had this happen before, and for those who saw the Brad Cruzy interview that I did with the guy that just retired from Grease Monkey.
Yep.
And
I love Brad.
Yeah, and he
Brad, I want some bacon. Yeah. I know you're not doing oil changes anymore, but can a guy still get the bacon plug?
I bought some of that from him too. But his phone was going off or something, and he said, "Oh, you can edit this, can't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I can, but I'm not going to."
No. It's real.
It's real, and that's the thing. I can edit out all the uhs and ums and stumbles and everything else and the cough that I had earlier, but that takes the human element out of it.
Yep.
Why would I do that?
Yep.
These are
ums and the uhs. That is my big. It's so hard.
It is tough. Here's something that they used to do down at KMA once upon a time. When I worked down there, and one of the most talented people that I ever worked with, Daryl Murphy, was doing the morning show back there, and they would go out and do the show live at a school, and they'd have a whole like an assembly, and all the kids were out there, and they do something called uh-oh radio.
Yeah.
So they bring a kid up there to talk into a microphone. Go until you say the word how far can you go?
Yep.
And as soon as they say the whole student body would go uh-oh. That's where the uh-oh radio part of it came from.
That's fun.
And it was fun, and it was actually kind of compelling.
Yeah.
But it also showed that it's tough.
It is.
I do it. I have been talking for over 30 years professionally, and I still do it. Very few people don't.
Yep.
Bob Costas was great at being smooth. Listen to some of his stuff. Never says it. But I do.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
My producer's like, you think you could cut the ums down to under 100 per hour? You know?
Slowing down will help a little bit with
Yeah.
that. Being more intentional, pausing helps with that.
Yep.
Instead of, we tend to use that as, we call it a crutch in radio. We tend to use it because we're uncomfortable with the silence. But if we pause and just sit and let that ruminate for a second, the timing is still okay.
Yep.
And you'll find that they shrink.
Yeah. Oh, no, and I've seen it already. Just being conscious of it and realizing that it's all going to stick to the tape.
Mhm.
You know, so I just really, I try to be conscious about everything I say. And then, but at the same time, I try to just flow and just be real and raw. And it's like right now, I'm trying to stop myself from saying,
It's in your head now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's all right. Keep cranking out the episodes
Yep.
of the podcast. Keep helping people when they come into your shop, and keep doing all those lives that you're doing.
Yep.
And giving us updates. It pops up on my feed all the time. I see you. I'm not out on the lake, but I almost felt like it when you're doing a live shot from inside of an ice hut somewhere and
Yeah.
sitting next to another guy, and I can almost smell that video.
Yep.
And what's coming off of that, the smell of the ice and a little bit of the water coming up from underneath. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's a lot of people that fish or want to fish. It's intimidating sometimes.
Mhm.
They have, people want to go do things. They just don't have the right proper equipment, knowledge, spots, all that. I try to help with all of it, you know, so I don't give out other people's secret spots, but I try to give people productive ideas on how the fish are running at that time of year. Give them a couple options, just some public spots that a lot of people know about, but people have success if you go at the right time. So all those things, at the end of the day, it's worth it when I get a picture of a fish. Somebody's kid caught their first fish,
Mhm.
or a grown man has never fished and came in and was like, I want to go fishing. What do I do? How do I do this? Get them set up with an affordable beginner pole, get them out there on the water. And when they have success, there's almost nothing better than that.
I've seen some videos out there, and I know you've seen them too, of dads with their young boys, and the young boy reeling that fish in.
Yep.
And you know the dad's instinct is he wants to just get out there and help him do it, but he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And he lets the boy bring the fish in on its own. And then the look on that boy's face when he sees what he just did and the fish that he pulled in, that gets me emotional when
Yep.
I see those videos. And that's the kind of stuff you're creating, man. And
Absolutely.
that's the cool part about it. And as I said all the time, I'm glad that we connected. I'm glad you reached out and made that first connection. And
Likewise.
happy that I'll continue with the encouragement and any other questions you might have as far as the stuff that I know about.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to you about stuff that you know about.
Yes, sir.
All righty. This is Joel Rybin, Anchor and Bait and Tackle. Thank you, sir, very much for coming
Thank
in.
you, Todd. Appreciate you having me on the show.
The Jenny Edmondson Foundation believes that healthcare goes beyond hospital walls, and through its Caring for Our Communities initiative, the foundation helps high-risk, low-income, and underserved individuals access resources that remove barriers to better health and long-term well-being. And each year, the foundation also brings the community together through Dance to the Beat, a signature event that raises critical funds for uninsured and underinsured heart patients. So learn more, get involved, and support the mission at jehfoundation.org. For a salon that feels like home, Heather's Hair Hut in Underwood, Iowa is ready to help with over 30 years of experience. Heather delivers expert haircuts for men, women, and children, as well as color services, styling, and even waxing services. This family-friendly salon opens 6 days a week with convenient evening hours, all in town, with a beautiful country view. So whether you need a quick trim or fresh new look, Heather's Hair Hut is the place to be. Heather's Hair Hut in Underwood, where experience meets comfort. And Pottawattamie County Routes, brought to you by Dave Lawrence, your Edward Jones financial advisor. Learn how he can help you reach your financial goals. Visit edwardjones.com for more. Edward Jones, member SIPC. Thanks again, Joel Rybin from Anchor and Bait and Tackle, for joining us today on the show. And we'll be back tomorrow with another episode. My name's Todd Studer. Have a great Wednesday.